Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question today about hitting a golf shot, working the ball, I guess we could call it. And this comes to us from Peter Bosek from Austria. So hello Europe and Peter. Peter asks, I would be interested in how one plays a low ball with the Serge method. Normally I experience a very high ball flight, but what to do when the wind is blowing strong in one's face? I would appreciate comments or our daily video from the Serge. Thanks and greetings from Austria. Again, that's Peter. Okay, Peter. I opened up this segment with two full swings, regular swings, and I'm hitting the 6-iron right here. And this would go basically for any shot in the bag. In that, when you want to start hitting the ball low, just think about, or for that height, for that matter, any height, whatever you want to hit it, just think about tossing the ball. And that's just from chipping, pitching, bunker shots, everything, just into full swings. When you want to adjust the height of the ball, just think about tossing the ball at the height you want the ball to go. So if I want to say I'm here and I have to hit it over a tree, like this tree that's just behind the camera over there and it's pretty high, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to set up, and if I got to get it over, even with a sandwich, I have to get back here, put my spine angle back, and throw the ball up high. Look where my hand's going, right? So if I have a golf club in my hand, then I'll just take that club and I got to swing it up there, which means I hang back a little bit more and I make sure I swing all the way up there to throw it up there. I want to hit a medium, a regular shot, I'll hit the ball there and go to my total finish. But I want to hit a lower shot right there. I can't hit a lower shot finishing up there. So just in your mind, just figure out what the height you want the ball and then just set up and make your swing to there. But the big thing that I teach in terms of knockdowns that is quite different from most other teachers is we've been told put the ball back more in your stance and hit down on it. Well, if you hit down on it and you squeeze the ball too much into the ground, especially if the turf is very hard, you squeeze the ball, like if you put a ball on a pool table or your dining room table and you hit down on it like that, you see the ball jumps up with backspin. So even though putting it back and hitting down on it might hit the ball relatively low, but if it has that backswing, especially into a pretty big headwind, that headwind has a big probability of what? Getting that spin and popping the ball up in the air. So like you hear people call about kiting up into the air. Gives it like an updraft. The ball just keeps spinning up in the air. And I mean, eventually the ball, if you do, sometimes you really hit knockdown wedges, sand wedges especially, get close to the green and you try to power a sand wedge into the wind. I mean, I'm talking a big wind, 2 or 3 club wind. That ball can go straight up and almost come backwards at you. So you want to make sure you don't get any backspin on the ball at any time when you're trying to hit the ball into a wind. And so the way I teach that is, instead of putting the ball back in my stance, I just leave it in the exact same place for whatever club I have in my hand. And I just take it from the same position, and all I'm going to do is take my normal backswing and I'm just going to cut the shot off, hit the ball, and abbreviate the follow through. And the lower I want the ball to go, the lower I'm going to stop the club in the forward swing. Now I also have to make sure that I take the club and I swing into the forward catcher's mitt toe up, because if I'm abbreviating the shot, I slow down my rotations and I don't quite square the club up at impact and it's slightly open at impact, that ball will start a lot higher than it should, fly higher than it should, but the worst part about it is it'll probably start right at the target and upshoot a little because it's got a left to right spin on it. So you have to make sure, you must release that club to toe up into the forward swing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the club in the ball in the same position of my stance for the club. So the 6-iron would be about middle to a little left of middle. And then I'm going to do what? I'm going to try to level my shoulders off a little bit more, because if I'm staying back, that's going to bring me down under more. I want to be coming in a little longer and shallower through impact, because I really want to just nip this ball off the ground. I want this club to just barely ricochet off the ground so that I can swing through. Now I'm going to stay low, but I'm not going to overextend low, because that's going to move my body forward. I'm just going to try to stay still to impact. I might actually even put my weight a little forward. So again, ball in the same position for my 6-iron, shoulders a little bit more level, might get my weight a fraction more forward, and I'm just going to pull the plug on the swing right about there. So let's see if we can do this. Now I got a tarp that stands there, that's in the middle of my net there, and it's about this high off the ground. With a 6-iron that I hit in the few that I hit to start this segment off, the ball went all the way up to the middle of the tarp, which was about this high. That one stayed below the tarp. So that means that ball stayed below this height by the time it got in the top. Now it's only 12 or 15 feet away, but that ball was low. All right, let's try that one more time. I'm going to keep the ball in the same place, get a little bit more level, maybe get just a fraction more on my forward side. Normal swing, and that one caught just the bottom of the tarp, as you can hear by the sound. So we're going to cut it off. Just think about where you're throwing. And just to show you how this works, we'll go ahead and I'll hit a driver. Now most people always think about teeing up the driver really low and to hit a low drive. I do just the opposite, because if you hit it low, in most cases with the least lofted club in the bag to drive, you got to go down and get it, which has a high probability of hitting down a little bit to pop the ball up more. I tee it at my normal height, because what I want is at the normal height, I just want to do what? I want to come in shallower on the way down and through, and just cut it off again the same way. You have to make sure that you really release into the forward mitt, because with this driver, if trying to cut it off, you cut it off where you never get to square, that ball is going to start right and go right pretty good. So I'm going to go to the regular swing, save my regular position for a driver. All right, I'm going to level my shoulders off a little bit more, maybe stay just a fraction more neutral to maybe even a little heavy left, make my normal swing and just cut this driver off right about there. All right, one more for the driver. You notice I definitely was swinging up because the tee got pulled out of the ground. So it's basically the same setup, same swing with all the clubs, cutting it off, and you just decide where you cut it off based on the height you want the ball to go. But you have to make sure you release into the forward catcher's mitt. All right, driver, teed up high. Remember, the key here is no matter what, you have to maintain very level and quiet knees, outward pressure, into a nice, good, balanced finish. Well, I guess we could say that's the surge system for hitting low penetrating shots into the wind. And I promise you, it really works. I grew up playing golf on a course right on the ocean and played in the wind every day. And I tell you what, this is the way I've done it most of my life. This is how I figured out playing there every day. And that slight adjustment of cutting the shot off and playing it from the regular position, not hitting down on it, just hitting a nice nip it off the ground shot and cutting the shot off in the forward swing is the secret that I think to having controlled golf shots at a much lower trajectory and really boring and penetrating into the wind. All right, well, that's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.